I've been fighting behavioral and chemical addictions my whole life. And, the past decade, I've been using different tools for that, tools like 12-step meetings and, spirituality, yoga, some psychedelics. I've been able to use uh, those as a tool to, fight chemical and behavioral addictions for sure. Up until a couple weeks ago, I had 13 and a half months, which is the longest I had ever gone. So, in junior high, I know last time I was on the show, I talked about, being in Arkansas and being taken to court as a teenager for these weird, bogus allegations,
Right.
terroristic, threatening, gang related activity. So after spending, a combined year and a half in 2 different facilities, and like I was obsessed with drugs at that point because that's all I heard any of my roommates ever talk about. All these
Yeah.
kids that were just obsessed with drug culture. So I started smoking weed. I was on probation, so I'd fail a drug test, get sent off, get out, fail a drug test, get sent off, get out. And eventually I said, well, I'm going to do meth because I can do that and still pass a piss test with my PO. And so I was on meth for a couple years as a teenager, and then I said, well, screw that. I don't want to be in a trailer park and lose my teeth, but I do want to stay high. I like that.
Yes.
So what about ecstasy? So then I did ecstasy every day, every other day for about 3 years.
Right.
No trailer parks, no losing teeth. You think about X, you think about convertibles and nightclubs, right?
You do.
So I fell into that trap. It's the same shit. It's all the same shit. But I decided cannabis was the one thing that I could do 24/7, 365 and not die, not go to prison like all my friends were. I was having friends getting on needles, going to prison, robbing stores. And so I just decided like, that's all I'm going to do. I drank a little bit too, but drinking was never my thing. Some years later, I became allergic to cannabis. When I smoked cannabis, it made my junk hurt. Anytime you use something too much, you can use a medicine until it's a poison. Definitely. I started going to rehabs. I was like, I went to rehab in 2017 for the first time since I was forced into rehab at 14 years old. And so it was this real like nostalgic, weird situation. And I started going to rooms. I started going to 12-step meetings. And through that, I've been able to get many stints of clarity. Now, weed is one thing. A vice is a vice. If you wake up and your first thought of the day is smoking, drinking, sniffing, fucking, that's an addiction. If your first thought before food, before waking up and doing your missions, and that's what it was for me. But with cannabis, you see people fall down and get up hundreds of times before it sticks for some long-term sobriety. So I'm not too hard on myself when I fall down, and I'm very grateful for these stints of clarity that I've had where I can remember my dreams and eat and sleep independently, not dependent upon something else,